Stock investing for beginners. In this video, billionaire Chamath and his friends made predictions on ChatGPT, Microsoft and Google, how ChatGPT could change Microsoft and Google and advertising industry.
If you guys were sitting on top of something that you thought was as foundational as Google search back in 1999, would you have sold 49% of it for $10 billion?
Hard no.
I think the answer is no. ChatGPT is an incredibly important innovation, but it's an element of a platform who will get quickly commoditized because everybody will compete over time.
Chamath is right. Remember when we got our first smartphones? Apple was one of the first movers. In technology, the first movers usually get a big advantage. So in chat robot industry, we're gonna see one or two players gonna have bigger shares of the market, and we will have a lot of competitors coming in later. But the first companies with the most innovative products with the best marketing skills gonna get the biggest market share in this ChatGPT industry.
And so I think what Microsoft is doing is the natural thing for somebody on the outside looking in at an entity that has 93% share of a very valuable category, which is how can I scorch the earth? And so Microsoft effectively for $10 billion bought almost 50% of a tool, and now will make that tool as pervasive as possible so that consumer expectations are such that Google is forced to decay the quality of their business model in order to compete. So that, as Friedberg said, you have to invest in all kinds of compute resources that today are still somewhat expensive. And that will flow into the P&L, and what you will see is that the business quality degrades. And this is why when Google did the demo of Bard, the first thing that happened was the stock went off 500 basis points. They lopped off $100 billion of the market cap.
Google lost $100 billion in stock value because its chat robot Bard made a mistake in the very first demonstration. People thought, oh, this is not as good as ChatGPT. Wait a minute, in 2022, Google engineer thought the company's AI has come to life, and Google fired a software engineer who claims AI chatbot is sentient. It means that Google AI could be much more intelligent than we thought it is. Sentient means the AI has emotions. The AI can think for itself, just like a human being. So everybody freaked out in 2022, and Google fired the software engineer. Remember, Google AI could be much more advanced than we thought it is. Chamath also discussed about how ChatGPT and other AI chat robots could change how Microsoft and Google monetize advertising.
Mostly in reaction to, oh my God, this is not good for the long-term business.
Explain why it's not good for the long-term business on a mechanical basis. When you get an answer, you don't have to click the links?
No, right now, if you look at Google's business, they have the best business model ever invented on earth ever for a for-profit company. It just rains money. This is a business that this year will do almost $100 billion of free cash flow. It's a business that has to find ways, and we kind of joke, but they have to find ways to spend money. Otherwise, they'd be showing probably 50 or 60% EBITDA margins, and people would wonder, hey, wait a minute, you can't let something like this go unattended. So they try to do a lot more things to make that core treasure look not as incredible as it is. They have $120 billion of cash. This is a business that's just an absolute juggernaut, and
They have 10 times as many employees as they need to run the core business.
I don't know what that is, but my point is that it's an incredible business. So that business will get worse if Microsoft takes a few hundred basis points of share, if Meta takes a few hundred basis points of share, if Tencent does, if a few startups do. Quora, by the way, launched something called Poe, which I was experimenting and playing around with last weekend. If you add it all up, what Satya said is true, which is even if all we do collectively as an industry is take 500 or 600 basis points of share away from Google, it doesn't create that much incremental cost for us, but it does create enormous headwinds and pressure for Google with respect to how they are valued and how they will have to get revalued. And that's what happened. So the last thing I'll say is, the question that I've been thinking about is, what does Sundar do?
Yes, a lot of companies have been trying to take Google market share in search engine market for a decade. Still, Google has over 92% in search engine market share in 2022. When was the last time you used Bing? When was the last time you used Yahoo? Or have you ever heard about Yandex or Baidu or DuckDuckGo? This is my first time I heard about DuckDuckGo. The reason why Google has been so dominant in search engine market share is because it has the best product, the best marketing. Remember, we used to use Microsoft Internet Explorer, Microsoft Edge before, but since Google introduced Google Chrome, what happened? Google Chrome has become the most popular browser in the world. In 2022, Google Chrome has over 65% market share. Can you believe that? Microsoft was the first mover in browser, but Google Chrome has become the most popular because it's so easy to use, user-friendly, and Google Chrome has so many extensions that we can use. You see how Google can penetrate a market where it is not a market leader, and it can become a market leader over time. Whether you use iOS or whether you use Windows, you most likely have Google Chrome, and you're gonna look for Google Chrome because it's so user-friendly. It's a brand monopoly. When people think about search engine, they think about Google. When people think about maps, they think about Google Maps, not Apple Maps. I use iPhone. When was the last time you opened Apple Maps? You're gonna open Google Maps, right? Because it's so easy to use. It's so user-friendly. Google knows its user. That's why brand monopoly is very, very important. Yes, a lot of companies will try to take market share from Google, but Google has the most valuable media brand value of over $263 billion, year-on-year growth of 38%. That's a lot. Second is a distant Facebook, $100 billion. It increased the brand value by 24%. WeChat, it went down. TikTok, it jumped a lot, right? But TikTok only has one product. Google has a lot of products. Android, Google Maps, search engine, a lot of products like Google Chrome. So it's really, really hard to compete against Google because it has a brand monopoly. Whenever people think about something, Google has it. Disney, yes. Tencent, yes. These are the top 6 brands in the world. Where is Microsoft? So just think about it. A lot of companies are trying to take Google market share, but Google has the best ecosystem in the world. Like Apple. Apple has one of the best ecosystem. When you use Apple iPhone, it's very hard to switch. When people use Google search engine, it's very hard to switch from Google to another search engine. If you want to look at the chart, you will see that the big difference. Look at the Google. Facebook is not even half of the Google in terms of media brands. Where is Microsoft? You don't see Microsoft here. So just think about it very carefully. Could Microsoft become the first in the search engine? ChatGPT can give them opportunity to make a dent in Bing, but people still use Google search because they are so used to it. It's so user-friendly.
The last thing I'll say is, the question that I've been thinking about is, what does Sundar do? Right? So what's the countermeasure? If I was him, is to go to the board and say, guys, we're going to double TAC. Right? So TAC is the traffic acquisition cost that Google pays their publishers. It is effectively their way of guaranteeing an exclusivity on search traffic. So for example, if you guys have an iPhone, it's Google search. That's the default search in the iPhone. Google pays Apple this year, this renegotiation for that deal could mean that Apple gets paid $25 billion for giving away that right to Google. So Google does all these kinds of deals. Last year they spent, I think, $45 billion or so. So about 21%.
In a way, when you think about that, Chamath, Google basically paid Apple, which was working on search technology. They were working on a search solution. They paid them to stay out of the business.
And they're paying everybody. So
that's a very smart move by Google. How much does Google pay Mozilla Firefox? Google paid Mozilla between 400 and 450 million per year for the privilege of becoming the Firefox web browser's default search engines in most regions. That's a very, very smart move. Google could increase their payment to prevent Microsoft from entering the search engine market. Microsoft and other competitors have to spend a lot more money to become the default search engines. That's a very, very risky move by the other competitors. They don't have enough money to compete with Google, and most people are used to using Google search engine, so they gonna switch back. And when was the last time you switched back from Bing to Google? Comment down below. If I see more people using Bing, that might change my mind. If you see more people using Yahoo or Yandex or Baidu, that might change the position. But a lot of people want to switch back to Google, even if the default search engine is Yahoo or Bing.
I think the question for Google is the following. If you think you're going to lose share, and let's say you go to 75% share, would you rather go there and actually still maintain your core stranglehold on search? Or do you actually want 75% share where now all of these other competitors have been seeded? Well, you can decay business model quality and still remain exclusive if you just double the tack. And what you do is you put all these other guys on their heels, because as we talked about, if you're paying publishers 2 times more than what anybody else is paying them, you'll be able to get publishers to say, hey, you know what? Don't let those AI agents crawl your website because I'm paying you all this money. Remember that, right? So do not crawl in robots.txt equivalent for these AI agents. And I think that that'll put Microsoft and all these other folks on their heels. And then as you have to figure out all this derivative work stuff, all these lawsuits, Google will look pristine because they can say, I'm paying these guys double because I acknowledge that this is a core part of the service. So that's the game theory, I think, that has to get figured out.
In this clip I'm about to show, Nilay Patel from The Verge did an awesome interview with Satya, and he basically would not answer this question, at least to my satisfaction, which is, hey, what do the publishers get out of this? You've ingested our information. How do we get paid? Watch this clip. It's very telling.
In the answer or even in the chat session.
But if I ask the new Bing, what are the 10 best gaming TVs? And it just makes me a list. Why should I, the user, then click on the link to The Verge, which has another list of the 10 best gaming TVs?
Well, I mean, that's a great question. But even there, you will sort of say, hey, where did these things come from? And would you want to go dig in? Like that, even search today has that. Like we have answers. They may not be as high quality answers. They just are getting better. So I don't think of this as a complete departure from what is expected of a search engine today, which is supposed to really respond to your query, while giving them the links that they can then click on, like ads, and search works that way.
In my mind, there's a terrible answer. He needs to address how they get paid. He punted the answer and just said, hey, listen, search works this way. Sachs, will the rights to the data, will Google just say to Quora, hey, we'll give you $1 billion a year for this data set if you don't give it to anybody else?
They should.
Maybe.
Sachs, the strategist, let me hear your strategy here. You're now CEO of Google. What do you do?
I think there's maybe even a bigger problem before that, which is I think the whole monetization model might change. So the reason why Google monetizes so well is it's perceived as having the best search, and then it gives you a list of links, and a bunch of those links are paid, and then people click on them. Now, I think when you search in AI, you're looking for a very different kind of answer. You're not looking for a list of 10 or 20 links. You're just looking for the answer. And so where is the opportunity to advertise against that? I mean, maybe you can charge like an affiliate commission if the answer contains a link in it or something like that, but then you have to ask the question, well, does that distort like best answer? Like, am I really getting the best answer, or am I getting the answer that someone's willing to pay for?
This is your key insight. The fact is, if Google gives you an answer, you don't click on ads. Google has had a very finely tuned balance between, hey, these first 2 or 3 paid ads, the paid links might actually give you a better answer than the content below them. But in this case, if the ChatGPT tells you, hey, this is the top 3 televisions, these are the top 3 hotels, these are the top 3 ways to, write a better essay, you don't need to click. You have now been given an answer, and the model is gone.
It will be very interesting to see how the monetization model might change in future. I believe Google is going to come up with innovative ways to monetize the new reality of AI. I believe in Google companies and their management, their innovations. I still like Google stock. I still like Microsoft stock because they are the best at what they do. Google for the search engine and monetization in advertising. Microsoft for the Microsoft software. That's what I like the most about them. What do you think? Comment down below. If you are just starting out in stock investing, open an account using the links down below. You're gonna get free stocks based on their promotions. Like, share, subscribe. Do you want to retire early? Do you love freedom? Do you want to work only 1 to 2 hours a day while traveling around the world and spend more time with your family? You can start stock investing and option trading right now. If you want to know more about finance, stocks, options, real estate, crypto, check out our playlist. Stock investing, stock trading, option trading, real estate, cryptocurrency.